We have some vocabulary words because we're starting a new unit. And so our first vocabulary word is going to be monomial. Remember, these should all be into your vocabulary notebooks. So look for the letter M. So if you need to, pause it, find the letter M so you can keep them all organized. Monomial is a single term. And it's coming from that word mono here, or that prefix of our word mono, which is meaning one. An example would be 5x is a monomial, 9 is a monomial. So just one term. And that's really important as we start working through our different pieces. We're going to be looking with kind of having, you need to be able to say if it's a monomial or if it's something else. So right now we just have the one. Then our second word is going to be base. And you probably remember from the shape that it's the bottom of the shape, but we are starting a new unit with exponents. And so we have a number. And so we're going to have, for example, if I have a times b to the x, this b is my base. It's a number raised to an exponent. Our last unit, we talked about what a was. So see if you can think about what that particular vocabulary word is. If you don't remember, go to the next page, look at the letter C's, and hopefully you'll see it on that page. That one's a coefficient. And this is going to be our next word, but exponent would be the x. And I just picked different letters. There is a multiplication in here. We don't always have to write it. Our next word is going to be exponent. So exponent is, it tells us how many times to multiply the base by itself. So if I have 5 to the third, that's going to be 5 times 5 times 5, or 125. 3 is that exponent. We're going to stay on the letter E for two more words. One is expanded form. So expanded form is just, I'm going to go ahead and add it to there. It's this. It's where we write out the exponent in detail. And an example is always helpful. So expanded forms such as 5x to the fourth. That 5 is our coefficient because it's only written once and there's no exponent on it. So 5 times x times x times x times x. Those are variables, so we could just write them this way. We are not using an x as a times anymore because that would be extraordinarily confusing. It would look like we have a lot more x's in there than we do. Using a dot, using an asterisk, using parentheses, but something other than a times. And there's no reason why I have to do it this way, but sometimes it helps me personally to visualize it. There's nothing wrong with this, but sometimes those are just a little bit harder to keep track of when you're working on those. If I had the 5x to the fourth in parentheses, now it's, when I write it out in expanded form, it looks a little bit different. And I'm just putting that 5x in between each one because that exponent is affecting both the 5 and the x. And then again, this here is my expanded form. And either one, this one here or this one here, these are both expanded form. And as we're working through this unit, we're going to be writing things out in expanded form because that helps our brain to picture and visualize what's happening. And then we will be working on simplifying them afterwards if there's something that we can simplify. One more word in the letter E, which is going to be exponential form. An exponential form is when we're writing it out as a coefficient, a base, and an exponent. So simplifying an expression to a coefficient, a base, and an exponent. So if I took this 5x times 5x times 5x times 5x, I would multiply all those 5s together, and I'm going to just double check that. Should be 625. 625 x to the 4th. This is exponential form. And a lot of times we will have something, we will write it out in expanded form, and then we'll end with exponential form. It's typically our simplest form. It makes it a lot easier to kind of look at and read. The last word is quotient, so beginning with a Q. This is an older one. It's coming back with some of the things that we're doing. So see if you can think about what it is. You did this in elementary school. Now start writing it out, and hopefully you're like, oh, that's it. Or you knew it. Answer to a division problem. Again, all those words should be in your vocabulary so that you have access to them. This is a brand new unit, so if you have the other words, sometimes people like to keep those out. That's when they should be going into your vocabulary, and this is our new unit of words.